Hello, my name is Ted Whitten. You know, the Footscray Football Club, since their inception into the league in 1925, have played in two grand finals at the MCG, 1954 and 1961. However, they've won one, and that was in 1954. And there's a proud poster from the old Herald that many thousands of people around Australia still have very proudly hanging on their walls in the house. Our side was captain and coach by Charlie Sutton. In that particular match, Jack Collins at full forward kicked 7 goals. Johnny Kerr, best on ground performance as a rover. And of course, the Footscray Football Club doubled the score of Melbourne that particular day, and their club was coached by the late Norm Smith. It was a big day, a tremendous effort by the Footscray Football Club for all of their supporters throughout the length and breadth of Australia. You know, as a schoolboy, everybody dreams of playing for their club they've supported as children, let alone play in a grand final and win it. I happen to be part of that 1954 grand final win, and it was a day that I will never ever forget, nor will the supporters of the Footscray Football Club. Coming up shortly, you'll be able to watch 45 minutes of highlights of that grand final. And in those highlights, you'll be able to watch some of the greatest footballers the Footscray Football Club have ever produced. So now, sit back and relax and watch 45 minutes of football highlights from the 1954 grand final in the Footscray Football Club's most memorable day when we stuck it right up. September 1954, 82,000 people turned up at the MCG to see Footscray play in its first ever grand final in VFL football. Their opponents, Melbourne. Here comes Footscray now led by captain and coach Charlie Sutton onto the sacred turf of the MCG. People spread right around the boundary line because renovations were being made to the new building, the Northern Stand for the Olympic Games in 1956. Jack Collins there for Footscray. And here comes the Melbourne side led by Jeff Collins, their captain, Noel McMahon, the vice-captain there onto the ground. Perfect conditions for the 1954 grand final. And everybody looking forward to a top game of football. Norm Smith, the coach of Melbourne, Charlie Sutton, captain and coach of Footscray. Both sides line up for the appearance of the 1954 Brownlow medalist, and there he is from Richmond, Roy Wright. Umpire for this particular game was Jack McMurray Jr., who officiated in many grand finals in VFL football, following on from his father, who also was a magnificent umpire. There's Roger Duffy, the half-forward flanker from Newtown, Sydney. For Footscray, as Jack McMurray comes in now to bounce the ball. Centre field, there's a bounce now. Donny Ross takes the ball away from the centre, puts it onto his left boot down towards the half-forward line. Sutton comes in, a drop kick down towards the forward area. Duffy once more, Helen. Johnny Kerr coming through onto Peter Box. Peter Box hit very hard, but the ball's pushed over the boundary line, and Sutton puts Jeff Collins into the fence. This is Lance Arnold kicking off for Melbourne now. Takes the ball out towards the half-forward line. There comes Ronnie McCarthy for Footscray, a stab pass. It goes out towards Don Ross, but going through hard was Barassi picking up the ball, puts it onto his left boot. There's part of the crowd there as the ball is kicked high into the air, down towards the goal area. And the huge crowd waiting in anticipation to see some good football. There's a bounce again coming out towards the flank where Duffy is there, along with the late Brian Gilmore. Duffy again kicks the ball around towards the half-forward line, and Jeff Collins, the Melbourne captain, will take the free kick. It's a drop kick off the side of his boot, goes out towards the centre of the ground. They fly high around that area. No mark, it comes to the deck again. Going through hard was Ron McCarthy, and he will take the free kick at centre-half back. It's a drop kick again, down towards Jack Collins, but he couldn't handle the ball cleanly. Barassi takes it away and puts it over the boundary line once more. Sutton having a talk to the umpire, and McMurray knows all about that. There's John Beckwith there for Melbourne. It kicks out towards Dennis Cordner, number 1. Unorthodox style of kick. Harvey Stevens, a Footscray ruckman, waving to Dave Bryden to take his turn in the ruck. Here comes Jack Collins now. Look at that action. 7 goals he kicked in the grand final in 1954, equaling the grand final record. Down comes the ball now, around towards Alan Martin out there, but it's a nice mark taken by Laurie Mithen. Dave Bryden, the Footscray ruckman, has marked, and Collins with a beautiful lead marks and plays on. One bounce, lines up the goals, has a good look and steers another one through for Footscray. Cordner again gets up high, but there's no mark. It goes along to the ground now. Kick it off the ground by McLean, number 5. And now Bryden with a hurried kick. Umpires found a free here, and Bryden will take it, and there's Collins once more. A nice pair of hands. Beautiful footballer. At full forward, lovely torpedo punt kick, puts it right through the centre. Play goes on again as Whitten there kicked into the man on the mark, and it was Jeff McGivern, and McGivern takes a free kick. Down it goes to Herb Henderson, comes out and chipping in very hard at Albiston for Melbourne. Swings onto his right boot, but the handballs this time over towards his teammate running past in case, and he has a hurried shot at goal. Umpire indicates 1 point on the scoreboard, knocked away there as McGivern goes up down towards Ross, chipping in, trying to pick up the ball. Whitten there doing battle with his Melbourne player down there in Melville, who shoots the ball out this time towards Stewie Spencer. A stab pass by Spencer, and wasn't executed in the right way, and Duffy takes the ball away towards the boundary line. You can notice the people are right around the boundary line there as that new stand was being built. Don Ross gets a hurried kick in once more towards Peter Box. It's knocked away, going through hard again. Sutton, using all his brute strength, puts the ball onto his left boot, and Jack Collin accidentally puts Arnold into the crowd once more. The ball comes down the deck. Donnie Williams, the half-back flanker, takes the ball away from half-back and over the boundary line once more. Peter Box and Noel McMahon doing battle there, and Ralph Lane now takes the ball around towards the centre of the ground. A high-flying Roger Duffy brought the ball down with a drop kick down there towards Stockman. Playing in front of the pack there, chases the ball towards the boundary line. Jeff Collins in hot pursuit. Stockman gets a hurried kick. Sutton's underneath, and there's Collins again. This time a drop kick. No follow through by Jack there, but the ball is taken away on again by Williams. Knocked on by Cordner. Down towards Ross, playing in the centre. Box at centre half forward. And there's a kick by Donnie Ross out towards Dougie Reynolds. Dougie Reynolds had a great battle with Ralph Lane in this particular match, and there's the umpire now calling for a ball up. Umpire Jack McMurray. Dennis Cordner, number 1. 31 is Barassi. 17 Jeff McGivern for Melbourne. There's the bounce now. Perfect conditions for football in the 54 Grand Final. Going through very hard, Johnny Kerr for Footscray, the best on ground that day, as McGivern drives the ball from centre half forward for Melbourne. Down where Henderson flies high. Coming out, Alan Martin, the half-back flanker for the Bulldogs. And play continues on around the half forward line, centre wing area, where Doug Reynolds with beautiful pace gets away from the pack again, down towards Don Ross from behind. Whitten comes in now, having trouble picking it up. He's got a fit of the fumbles too. And the ball is socket over the boundary line for another throw-in. Donnie Ross, number 9. And there's the ball being kicked down there by that Melbourne player trying to pick him up there. It was Clark, and as the boundary umpire indicates, a throw-in will take place. Ross again. Chases the ball around. Whitten has it now. A hurried kick by that player. Out towards Doug Reynolds on centre wing, chased by Ralph Lane. As Reynolds tripped from behind, and the umpire should pay a free kick. Reynolds is looking for it. He's going to pay it. Ralph Lane not too happy about it. There goes Dougie Reynolds now, and that would normally be a 15-metre penalty as the umpire. By gee, we're chopping and changing quite a bit in this particular match, but umpire McMurray comes in now and bounces the ball again. And they fly. Down it comes this time towards the half-forward line. Going there, Collins. He can't handle it cleanly. This time it's Duffy again, a beautiful half-forward flanker. Drives it down towards the full-forward area. And well, that's a great shot of the goals in the crowd there. As umpire McMurray now is telling the Melbourne captain to move his players around, and likewise with Footscray. Quarter-time scores Footscray with a handy lead, 6-3 to Melbourne, 1-4. And there's Jack Collins coming in once more to shoot at goal. And another one on the board for Footscray. Sutton there just gives Jack a pat on the you-know-what, saying well done. Sutton playing in the forward pocket. You notice his right thigh has been heavily bandaged as a protector with the occasional run on the ball. Did a great job. Knocked away by Brian Gilmore. Down it goes this time towards Arthur Edwards. Had trouble handling the ball, and Herb Henderson there watching Noel Clark come out trying to pick it up. Can't do so. Alan Martin tries to offset him. He's having trouble. Down it comes again towards Case. Case is pulled to the ground by Whitten. Dave Bryden's in there. Barassi's had his head pulled off, and chipping in is McLean. Now the umpire must have given them a goal there because I didn't see it kicked. Comes into bounce again. Duffy, number 7, 11 Edwards, 19 Martin. And the big Harvey Stevens takes it away from the centre, drives it around towards the half-forward line, and Brian Gilmore takes his kick now, drives up towards the full-forward area. Johnny Kerr, the Footscray Rover, along with Sutton, watches as the ball sails towards the goals. And there's another mark by Doug Reynolds of Footscray, played on centre wing. And a great turn of speed showed by Dougie, local boy from the western suburbs. And now we see the umpire come in and allow Peter Box to take a shot for goal. And the umpire runs across. It's a goal umpire indicating it was over the boundary line on the full. There's a kick by the Melbourne defenders now. A little bit difficult to pick up as play continues through Harvey Stevens. Drives it up towards the half-forward line. Brian Gilmore and Roger Duffy gets it out towards Peter Box. Peter Box handballs over his head now, as we see it kicked again by Duffy down towards the forward line. Getting a lot of mentions, Duffy, in the call so far. And another behind goes on the board to Footscray. Lance Arnold kicks in for Melbourne. Goes to the outer side. And a huge pack of players agrees with the umpire's decision as Whitten comes in front of McGivern now, and it takes a mark around the half-back line area. Favouring the drop kick. Up looking for the high flyers. They were there, but most of them were Melbourne on this occasion. We see the Footscray half-forward come in. Peter Box had plenty of time to manoeuvre himself into position to kick the ball, does so down towards half-forward. Herb Henderson, the great fullback of the 50s, takes another beautiful mark in defence, always back to his judgment, as Johnny Kerr tries desperately to take the ball around centre wing, gives it to Dougie Reynolds, and look at him go. Drives up towards the half-forward line, but taken away by Beckwith. Down it comes this time towards McMahon of Melbourne. His shot goes down towards half-forward, but the Footscray defenders were playing tight. Ross goes in, out towards Stockman. There goes McCarthy again. And this time it's McLean of Melbourne who wins to the ball. And in McGivern in there, Whitten tackles him, and a free kick goes Footscray's way. Again, we see Barassi going through very hard. Determined player, even in those early days. Taken away that time by Whitten, again over the boundary line on the full as Henderson relieves for Footscray. Bryden gets it down towards Stewie Spencer. A hurried kick by that player out towards Ralph Lane. One of his few kicks for the day on that occasion. I thought Doug Reynolds had the better of him as Henderson comes in again for Footscray. Drives out towards half-forward. Arthur Edwards marking in front of the pack, but the umpires paid a free against him, and Dennis Cordner will take the kick. Down towards half-forward. Footscray in trouble here as they're defending, as Clark of Melbourne gets a handball out this time, goes towards Laurie Mithen. His shot at goal is a little bit off target, and Dave Bryden relieves for the Bulldogs. Out towards the outer side area, Arthur Edwards going in again. Jimmy Gallagher, the half-back flanker for Footscray, relieves on that occasion with a hurried kick out towards centre wing, and Duffy chases Jeff Collins over the boundary line for a throw-in. Looks like a bit of an altercation there as Barassi on the bottom of the pack picks himself up, and the boundary umpire gave Jeff Collins a little bit of a nudge, and Doug Reynolds looking for a free kick there, but the umpire said play on. Gilmore with a kick up towards half-forward. Finds the big player for Melbourne in Christie looking for a free kick as Jeff Collins, the Melbourne skipper, comes in to have a talk to the umpire, and Christie will take the free kick. Around the centre wing area it goes out again as Christie, still trying to gain possession of that ball, watches it go over the boundary line for a throw-in again. Roger Duffy looking for the free kick. What's happening here? The umpire has allowed it, and Sutton takes a kick from point-blank range and makes no mistake for Footscray. Footscray had the Demons on toast this day. There's the bounce the ball as Gilmore gets over the top of Cordner. Peter Box comes through on his typical style, his left boot. Up towards Stockman. Stockman couldn't mark cleanly. Sutton gets a handball out towards McCarthy. McCarthy swings onto his left boot, drives at the goal square, and the goal umpire having a good look as Christie marks the ball, but the indication from the field goal umpire, 1 point. Cordner knocks it down again. Going through hard, Barassi couldn't get rid of it. Johnny Kerr chips in, takes possession, swings left and right, close to the boundary line, picks it up again. Oh, they're all tackling John Kerr very hard, but a lovely blind turn gets him out of trouble. A quick handball. And going in hard, Jeff Collins of Melbourne relieves for the Demons. Footscray applied a lot of pressure to Melbourne right from the very first bounce and gave them no indication that they were going to be defeated on this particular day. There's the ball being dribbled down towards Jimmy Gallagher now, and going out to meet the ball is Whitten again, ducks around one, swings a handball over to Alan Martin. Not a good handball, put Martin under pressure here. but they supported each other very, very well around the half-back line area in 54. There's Martin looking for a free kick, and half-time scores shows Footscray still leading the way, 8-5, 53 to Melbourne, 4 goals, 6-30. Very good half for Footscray, and there comes the Bulldogs again onto the ground after half-time. Sutton had plenty to say, realising it was the first opportunity to win their first ever grand final, and the youngsters didn't want to let him down. Chasing the ball very hard out towards the boundary line. There is Ralph Lane, followed by Jim Gallagher. Look at that huge crowd around the boundary line. This was 54, and of course the Olympic Games being played there in 56. Dave Bryden relieves for the Bulldogs again, up towards centre wing. Taken away by that Melbourne player running through very hard was Stewie Spencer, and a good mark there but Barassi, who plays on typical fashion, puts it onto his left boot, but Gallagher's there. That's Case for Melbourne, number 7. Have a look at the surface of that MCG. Beautiful. Duffy from behind of Collins gets the ball down to Doug Reynolds. His hurried kick goes up towards Stockman, who marks point-blank range, 20 metres out at the main scoreboard end of the MCG. He's going to favour the torpedo punt. Ron Stockman now, formerly from West Footscray. Not a good kick by Stockman. And we see the ball going back into play now. Barassi knocks it away. It goes down towards the boundary line. Players going in very hard now. Footscray sensing victory in their first ever, and Melbourne trying to salvage something from the wreck. As Duffy goes in once more for the ball. He meets McCarthy, his teammate, right down the middle. They go to the deck, and the umpire will come in as Barassi goes down also for the umpire to give a decision here. And it looks like he paid a Melbourne free kick. Up towards the big fellow for Melbourne, that's Smithen. And coming out of the pack is Stewie Spencer. Hurried kick along the ground. Footscray, with all the pressure they gave Melbourne, no chance of surviving there from half-time as Harvey Stevens drives around the half-forward line. Coming out to meet the ball is Collins of Melbourne. Box tackles him. He drops the ball, going in a stock, but now it's Johnny Kerr. John Kerr ducks and weaves out towards Reynolds. Reynolds with a stab pass down towards Sutton. Look at Sutton weave his way through the pack here. Handball to Gilmore. Gilmore puts the ball to boot, and it goes right down towards the forward line, and they're still trying very, very hard, this Melbourne side, to get themselves out of trouble, as Albiston has a kick down towards Beckwith. Beckwith onto his left boot, and Corder knocks the ball away. Back into play. Going through hard here, we see Dougie Reynolds once more, and that's Donnie Williams with the ball for Melbourne. Sutton chasing. Henderson comes out. Over it goes towards McLean of Melbourne. He gets the ball out towards the centre wing position on the outer side. Umpire Jack McMurray, you can have a look at those tight shorts Jack's wearing, trying hard to keep up with the pace of the game, even in 1954. Donnie Ross, superb player for the Bulldogs, takes the ball right around towards the boundary line. Laurie Mithen, number 11 for Melbourne, but they had no answer to the brilliant Bulldogs at this stage of the game. Here comes the kick now. And it's Big Cordner who eventually got his boot to the ball, and Dave Bryden relieves once more. Umpire McMurray giving a brilliant display of umpiring. There goes Jeff McGivern. Tackle from behind by Donnie Ross, put to the deck. In comes Wally Donald, vice-captain in 1954, and a brilliant combination between he and Herb Henderson. Arthur Edwards moving in there with Barassi, and also Noel McMahon for Melbourne, number 35, drives the ball around towards Albiston now, coming out for the Demons, trying to pick it up. He was hit pretty hard by 2 Footscray players. Whitten's in there. He goes to the deck with him, picked up by John Kerr. Onto his left boot, drives it down, and a nice mark to Ron McCarthy again. McCarthy had McLean as his opponent on that particular day, and there goes Noel McMahon with another kick in defence for Melbourne. Out towards McLean again. Drives it towards goals. Umpire indicating on this occasion that he's put it through for full points to the Demons. A belated goal for Melbourne. They were desperate. They needed scores on the board, and the Footscray defence and the big men wouldn't allow them to get back into the game at all. The knock goes Footscray's way again. In goes John Kerr. A duck, a weave, a bounce, a handball out towards Doug Reynolds. This fellow, when he put his foot flat to the floor, had some brilliant pace. Out towards Duffy. Duffy and Collins having another royal battle. And now it's Arthur Edwards down towards Peter Box. Peter Box taps the ball on towards the forward line. Sensing victory, Jeff Collins there with the kick away back towards their forward line. Going in now is number 4, that's Big McChristie of the Demons, and Herb Henderson comes out, backs his judgment beautifully, and not a very good stab pass by Herbie. And McMahon of Melbourne is tackled by Arthur Edwards, and Arthur Edwards should take the free kick. And I'll tell you what, Edwards is not too happy about that. That's one that Jack McMurray did miss. A beautiful tackle. Big Christie, number 4 of Melbourne, waiting for the bounce. Edwards comes in along with Gilmore. Gilmore won the tap. Down to Kerr again. Drives the ball down towards the forward line, and Whitten marks in defence. Has a bounce. Goes around the outer side. A drop kick. Looking for a high flyer, and eventually found one in the crowd. There's McMahon. He's pulled hard by Johnny Kerr. Tenacious player, Kerr, for Footscray. Takes the ball forward again, and there's a good shot of the goal post. And the crowd, 82,000 people. Sun shining beautifully. Pro Footscray crowd, without any shadow of doubt. We'll forget about the play for the next minute or so and have a look at the crowd. We'll count the stand. It's Bay 4. Again, it's Bay 4. And some good photography. There's number 3, of course. And there's the head of Donny Ross. We're coming back into the football side of it now. No, we're not. We'll go back and see the crowd again. Number 2. Not hard to call this particular segment. Action. Ron McCarthy. Lance Arnold. Out towards half forward. McCarthy again for the Bulldogs. Down towards Sutton and Noel McMahon. Gee, they had some tough battles, McMahon and Sutton, over the years. We all know the toughness of Charlie Sutton, but Noel McMahon again was a very tough customer for the Demons. Notice the drop kicks around where Dave Bryden, with beautiful judgment, comes in over the top of Christie, gets it down to Peter Box, and again he favours a drop kick. Goal umpire indicates it's gone through for 1 point only. He had a lot of kicks this particular day, Lance Arnold, the fullback for Melbourne, because Footscray scored a number of behinds. Umpire giving a free kick here again, and it's going to the Melbourne ruckman in Christie. They had a big battle. There's Brian Gilmore, the late Brian Gilmore, marking very strong in defence and on the forward line. Drop kick once more, not the best of drop kicks, but it goes down towards McMahon, who's showing a lot of strength again. Gets the ball out towards McLean. Onto his right boot around centre wing, and over the boundary it goes. They fly high from the throw-in. And Ross comes out there. There goes Stewie Spencer again, the Tasmanian whiz kid. Drives the ball up towards the forward area, looking for a chance of a score here. Picked up there by that Melbourne player going through very hard was Bob Johnson, and he's put it through for his only goal in the 54 Grand Final for Melbourne. Big Bob Johnson. Could he stage for a free? Down towards Peter Box again, who eventually won the 56 Brownlow medal. Gets the ball to Sutton. Sutton onto his left boot. Down towards Collins. Collins and Arnold doing battle in there, trying to help us Kerr, but it's Harvey Stevens who gets it down towards Collins. 2 metres out from goal, and what a strong pair of hands he had. Jack Collins, number 2. As said before, equal the goal kicking record in a grand final, 7 for that particular match. Was given good support, could easily have broken that record that day. Jack McMurray Jr., number 5 is Box, 1 Cordner, 35 is McMahon, number 7 is Case. The bounce is a good one. Stevens wins it. Down towards half forward. Box again going through, but Stockman chips in, takes the ball, gets it down towards Sutton. Sutton appealing for the free kick, and what do you think's happened? He's got it. Pretty good mates, Charlie and Jack McMurray. And there's a kick by Charlie through towards goals, and he's put it through for another one to the Bulldogs. Beautiful calling a game like this when it's all over, knowing full well the result at the end of the match. Back towards centre field. Big Dennis Cordner comes in. Great family name for Melbourne over many, many years. The Cordner family. As a bounce takes place and Cordner wins it. Typical big punch from the centre from Cordner down, this time towards Ross going through. Look at this fellow go through. Stop for nobody. Intercepted there by McLean of Melbourne up towards half forward. Alan Martin or Gallagher should be there. He is, Jimmy Gallagher, but McGivern chips in and takes it away as a siren sound for 3/4 time. And Footscray players were elated. They were extremely happy. The kids onto the ground to meet the heroes of both sides. And three-quarter time scores. Footscray 12-9-81, Melbourne 6-7-43. 30 minutes away from their first ever grand final in VFL football, and there was no way known they were going to lose it. The start of the last quarter, picked up by John Kerr, shoots at goal. Goal umpire runs across, indicating it's only 1 point. And Jack Collins has a few words to say to the goal umpire. Not that he'd take much notice. Now Arnold decides to come right down the middle. And down it goes with a nice kick, and coming in to take the mark is Dennis Cordner. From centre half back now, drives it continually down the centre, knowing the shortest way home is that area, and taken away by Clark, but he's going out towards the flanks. Stab past, in comes Wally Donald. Beautiful anticipation, picks up the ball, puts the Bullies back into attack. Down towards half forward, Stockman close to the boundary line, goes over with Case, and Arthur Edwards comes in. Out towards Collins. There's a turn of speed from Jack here. A bulk, a weave, a bounce, steadies, ducks around one more, shoots at the big sticks, on its way, and the goal umpire having a good look at this, said it's gone through for another point. One of the very few that Jack missed in the grand final. Play continues now, kicked away by Case of Melbourne. Now it's Box who takes the ball away, drives it up towards the half-forward line, and Footscray had their feet flat to the floor now as McMahon comes in for Melbourne. Out towards Donnie Williams. He had a lot of pace too, drives away, a very attacking player. Down towards Gallagher. Barassi's got the ball, has marked, and Jim Gallagher just puts him down to make sure that he stays there. Now it's Stewie Spencer, left footer. Drop kick towards goals. Umpire likes to look at that one as play continues. Out towards Doug Reynolds. There's a turn of speed again. Look at him go, chased by Collins. And coming in to help out there is Melville for Melbourne. Down again it goes towards Albertson. And Barassi's in there. Can't handle it cleanly. Duffy with a blind turn onto his left boot. Drives it towards half forward. Gilmore's there. He overruns the ball. Kicked off the ground by Ross. Coming through hard as McLean. A stab pass down towards half forward. And taking it now is Stewie Spencer again onto his left boot. It goes down towards the crowd again as the bounce takes place. Knocked away by Gilmore. Down it goes this time to that Footscray player on the bottom of the pack. It looked like it was Arthur Edwards. Knocks on again. This time it's Albertson of Melbourne down towards Bryden. A strong, determined player, Bryden, as Donnie Williams marks once more for Melbourne. Donnie Williams, a great player, a typical high-flying halfback. Like to drive the ball long with his penetrating drop kicks. Another good shot of the crowd as Duffy takes the ball away up towards Ross. Ross chased by Laurie Mithen. Chipping in there was McLean again out towards Cordner. Cordner trying to pick it up. The bounce is good for him. A drop kick, unorthodox in style, down towards Gilmore. Gilmore shepherded by Duffy. Gets his kick as McLean watches it go over with a kick by Herb Henderson. Barassi chases after the ball, going in hard as Reynolds. He's first to the ball, but the ball beat them all over the boundary line. Whitten has it, couldn't do a thing with it, gets it over towards Donald likewise, and now it's a Melbourne players leading in the race for the ball, as we see Clark take it away down towards Henderson, playing in front of the back, and we find the umpire has paid a free kick to Henderson. Now it's Martin who gets the ball up towards Box, and Box is marked for Footscray half forward. Close to siren time, and the Footscray well on their way to their first ever premiership in VFL football, and they should be proud of it too. A drop kick by Peter Box up towards the forward pocket area, and Dougie Reynolds chipping in hard. A weave there, keeps the ball in front of him, keeps up his pace as he tries to gather in, does so, tackle hard, and the umpire is paying a free kick against Reynolds for holding the ball. Footscray going in very hard at this stage. Watches as the ball is taken away by McMahon of Melbourne, down towards that Footscray player trying to pick it up. Whitten onto his right boot from centre field. Out towards the half-forward line, Johnny Kerr comes out, but it's a Melbourne big ruckman who leads in the race for the ball there as Dennis Cordner in front of Harvey Stevens. Brian Gilmore out towards Reynolds. Ralph Lane's in front of the pack there, and Ralph Lane takes down the mark for the Melbourne side. Drives it down towards half-forward. Whitten comes out again from half-back onto his left boot. There's McCarthy. with McLean doing battle. McCarthy punches it in front, but McLean, a cheeky little wingman, swings around, puts it onto his left boot, drives it towards half forward, chipping in here hard as Albiston for Melbourne. Dummies onto his left and takes it down where Barassi flies but couldn't control the ball in the air. Taken away by Reynolds, and away goes Doug. Steadies around here. A beautiful passage of play, gets a handball to Ross. Ross gives it back to Reynolds. The bounce is true for him. Swings around, puts it onto his left boot, and a beautiful individual passage of play by Dougie Reynolds puts it through for another goal to Footscray. What a moment that would have been for him. The last quarter. Reynolds again. Had a great day. Out towards the Bulldog high-flying Duffy. Couldn't handle it cleanly. Down it comes to Ross again. Played well in the centre for Footscray. And Footscray had all the answers as Sutton comes in and puts Beckwith down. Knowing full well victory was there. Charlie wanted to make sure of that as Gilmore shoots at goal. And a chance there for Jack Collins to mark, but it's Kerr who takes it away, shoots at the big sticks, and the goal umpire said it's gone through for another point. There's a throw-in as Gilmore takes the ball away again. Kicked off the ground by Big Christie. Nobody could handle the ball cleanly here, and the umpire decides to get the game underway as it comes out this time towards McCarthy. On centre wing he played. Drives up towards Collins, and Collins comes out in the forward pocket. Had a chance to mark, but dropped an easy one. Picked up by Arnold. Arnold drop kicks it out towards the outer side. Taken away here by Lane. Drives it back towards half forward. They set and fly from behind. It was Ross Laurie-Mithen in front. Down it comes again, where going through very hard on this occasion was Melville as Whitten released from centre half back. It's a drop kick. Right down towards half forward. They come out once more. Big Collins tried to mark, couldn't do so. Now trying to pick up the ball is Melville for Melbourne. Does so, gets it back towards Collins. And it comes down towards Alan Martin going through. Alan Martin handballs over to Donald. They had a beautiful combination around the half-back line, picked up by Johnny Kerr. Best on ground in 54 Grand Final. Effort by that player towards Gilmore. A stab pass by Gilmore. A beautiful pass. It's Jack Collins right on the chest. I think this could have been his seventh goal to equal the Grand Final record. The goal umpire runs across, indicating that it was a goal and it's all over. Footscray's first ever Grand Final. Final scores, Footscray 15-12-102, defeating Melbourne 7-9-51. Well, how did you feel about that? Magnificent, wasn't it? 45 minutes of 1954. What about the drop kicks, the stab passes, the torpedo punts by Jack Collins at full forward? Oh, gee whiz, I'll never ever forget that day as long as I live. You know, that is a collector's item, that tape. It's a very, very rare one, and you people that have it, watching it in your own rooms at the moment, don't lose it. Just pass it on down to the children throughout the years and let them show to their children, remembering that first flag that the Footscray Football Club won in 1954. It's a moment I'll never forget, and you can probably just imagine the elation that we felt when that final siren sounded and we knew that we were part of history in being part of the team that won the first flag for the Footscray Football Club. Let's hope it's not too long now before we can all go back to the MCG and recapture the same moments of glory for the Bulldogs by winning their second Grand Final flag in the AFL. Come on, Bulldogs. You can do it.